Welcome to Stencyl tutorial 4 for coding. This is part 3. We're going to have a look at adding bullets to Mambo in this particular tutorial. It is going to be a 20-minute tutorial. I'm trying to make them slightly longer because I've gotten the ability to make them a little bit longer. So hopefully you will be able to move along with us. Now, what you can see is we have the same game that we left off with last time. I do apologise that it's been a little bit of time since I've been able to continue this, but we'll give it a try and we'll see what we did last time, which is in essence made Mambo stay on screen when he moved left and right. So give it a little bit of time because the game takes a bit to come up the first time we started it. And here we go here. You can see we move Mambo to the right and he can't go off the edge of the screen that way. And when we go to the left, he can't go off the screen that way. So it's all good. Got some monkeys dancing around up top, but we want to shoot them. And that's what we'll be dealing with today. So what we do is we have a look at Mambo. And Mambo, here we have some events that we've put in place already. But it's here that we're going to need to add the code for shooting at Mambo. You will see that we'll add an event here, and it's about coding. So what we would normally do is put this stuff into behaviors, but because we're really focusing on the coding side of things, we're just going to add the events and include it here. So what we need to do is create a line, in essence, that's going to shoot from Mambo, and we need to do that with a control. So we're going to hit a fire button. So here we select the control. But when we drop down, we choose the control and we have a look in here and we can see that we've got some options, but none of them are a fire button option. So I need to create a fire button option, which requires me to go to the control section. So we'll cancel out of that and head up to the settings section, which might be on the left hand side if you're using a Windows machine at the dashboard. Either or, we go down to the controls section. It gives us the details of the controls that are currently available. But if we want to add a new control, we scroll down a little bit further than this sort of thing here to get to the point where we can click to create a new control. Let's see, it's right down here, so we click on it now and it gives us the option. So I'm going to rename it the fire button, and I'm going to use the Z key, I suppose, to shoot my limes up at the monkeys. So we click on the key here, hit the key that we want to use. So there's Z, and we go from there. So we'll shut this section down, and we have here. So we go in now, we choose the control, and you can see the fire button is there. If it doesn't come up, you can refresh with Control R, or you can hop out and hop back in again. So when the fire button is pressed, what we need to do is we need to create an actor. Now to do that, we go to the scene menu and we create an actor of type at a certain position. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select the actor type, pardon me, and then we're going to put the position based on this current actor that we're using. So remember, we're using Mambo, so we'll place it at a certain point. The first thing we need to do is we select the actor type, we choose one, select a line and click on OK, and then we're going to choose where it comes from. So you can do this in two ways. You can go across and find the bit on the actor which says we're going to put it at the X self. Now this is a position that's relative to Mambo himself, so the X of self being on screen, X starts at the left and goes across to the right, and then we're going to put it also at the Y of self, but we're going to reduce that Y a little bit because that will put it slightly up from Mambo. Otherwise it'll appear in the middle of Mambo and that'll look a bit funny. So I use a mathematical function here where we go down, and this is the other way you can choose Y of self. So you go into the actor tab, choose the X of self and then change that to a Y, and we'll minus it about 10 pixels, so it raises about 10 pixels from halfway point on Mambo. Okay, we come back to the screen here, we have a look now. That's X left to right, okay, going upwards, and Y starts at the top left hand corner as well, but increases the further you go down. So it starts 0 here, and the further you go down is to whatever pixels the range is. So when I minus something, it actually raises it up slightly on Mambo. And the X, we'll put it at the X point of that, plus whatever width the line has in its image. So we've got all of that set. What we might do here is actually have a look at it, see this is all the stuff that we need, so it should create a line when we do it, so we'll test it. We can see that it now runs a lot quicker because we've tested the game before, and we shoot a couple of times as we come across and we can see there's the line. Okay, now we haven't given it any movement controls yet or told it how to move, but the lines are appearing when we hit the Z button, which is all good. So time to make it move, which means we come in to this section again. We've created it, now we need to control the motion of what we've actually created. So we come across to the actor and choose the motion pane, and we're going to use this one here that says push self gently towards X, Y at a certain force. So we grab that and we drag it up underneath it. We're not going to be pushing ourselves though, we're going to be pushing the last created actor, which actually focuses on the line because strangely enough that was the last created actor. Gently is there, we'll talk about that in a moment. Now what these two are used for, X and Y, are actually the direction that you want. Okay, so X, if you put a positive there, it would move across to the side, but we want 0 because we don't want it to move in the X-axis at all, but we want it to head up, which would be -1 for Y, okay, which is essentially a direction. We put in a force, okay, we'll put in force 20 here, just for a number, and then we'll test the game to see what's going on. So, wait, she starts up again. Here we go, Mambo. Let's shoot some limes. Ooh, look at them whiz across the screen. Not. Okay, but we can see that they are moving. Now, we need to fix that because, quite honestly, the monkeys are going to die of old age before those bullets get there. So let's go back and have a look. Now, we've got here a couple of things that we can do. We can increase the force. Okay, to make it a bit faster, we'll change it to 40, not 240, and we'll also change it so we don't push gently, we'll push it sharply. Remember, whenever there's a drop-down box, there's some kind of option you can choose. Let's try that. That's a bit better. Look at those bullets shoot. That's exactly what we want, in essence. But you can see that this still has a couple of problems. Now, the first problem that we've got to deal with is the fact that the line shoots straight through the monkeys. So the monkeys aren't going to be terribly scared of the ghost-like fruit. So what we need to do is check the collisions, and that's under the group setting. So we go into the settings section, have a look at the groups, we'll choose the fruit, and we can see that it's not actually selected to collide with anything. We want it to collide with enemies, so we'll click on that and it becomes green to say that yes, indeed, it's going to collide with enemies. Now we'll also check the enemy section just to make sure it's set to collide with fruit, which it is, and we'll go OK. Now it is possible that it might still go through depending on if we've set them not to be pushed, etc., and that's not what we want. But we can see here that it actually is hitting them. Now I have actually built some code in behaviours, so the monkeys will react by being hit, and we'll have a look at those behaviours at the end of towards the end of this tutorial. So what we're trying to achieve now is we need to manage the memory of this game. Whenever we create an actor of a line, what happens is it gets created in memory space for the game. So the more lines you create, then the more memory space you're using, and that will degrade your game. So what we need to do is make sure when a line strikes a monkey, or when a line goes off screen, that the computer itself stops tracking that line, because it will continue to track it until you tell the computer that that line is no longer required. Okay, so it's exceptionally important that we do this, or otherwise, you know, if you have a long extended game, then the line itself will degrade your memory. So we need to come into our events section for the particular line. We would turn this into a behaviour, so it could be done across all fruit, but again we're teaching you coding. So we go to the events, and what we need to do is ensure the first time when we collide with one of the monkeys, okay, now you could say collide with something else, but that's not really the one we want. Okay, so we'll chuck that one out. Okay, but what we want to do is we want to collide with an actor. Okay, so when we collide with an actor of type, and what we do is we'll choose that actor type and we'll place in that when we collide with the monkeys. Okay, right there, click OK. And then from that point we need to make sure that it will kill itself. So we go to the properties of this particular actor and find the tile that says kill self. So we go through motion properties. Here we are, kill self. We drag it in and we place it up there. But you will see another one here that says recycle self, and we'll go into this at more depth. If we are using a lot of a particular actor, you may consider recycling it, because what that does is when it disappears from screen, it goes back into a pool, and then if we ask to create one, we check to see if there are any in the pool before we create. And that also is about memory management, but we'll get into that in depth at a later stage. Killing self is quite fine at the moment. Quite honestly, this isn't a terribly involved game, and most computers these days are going to be able to handle things. So we'll get rid of recycle self and we'll just put in here kill self. Now we want to actually manage the fact that the bullets may also go off screen, so we need to add a second event to this to make sure that when that lime shoots off screen, that the computer doesn't continue tracking it. Just because it goes off screen doesn't mean the computer stops tracking it. So we need to say that, okay, we've missed, it's gone off screen, stop tracking this particular line, please. So let's have a look at creating that event. So we come across here, we add a new event, have a look at the actor. When it enters or leaves a region, you see down the bottom, there we go. So when it enters, we're going to choose an actor type. So when the lime, and it's not entering screen, it's when it exits, not the scene, but the screen. Okay, we want it to kill itself again. So we grab that kill self, put it over, click, there she is. And in essence, that should work. So when now the bullet hits a monkey, or when the bullet actually goes off screen, you will see, well, you won't see, but in essence, the computer stops tracking those limes. Okay, so that's saving us memory space. Now, my game actually has a bit of lag here and a few glitches when it does. You see all my bullets disappear. That shouldn't happen with yours. It's actually because I've got a whole heap of processing material going on in the back, and the computer's stopping tracing some of the bullets at times and running into the issue. So you can see there what the problem would be if we had loads and loads of bullets on screen at the moment. So that was a bit of a problem and a glitch, but you have to live with these sorts of things when you do these technical details once in a while, and it's good to show that memory has effects. So let's have a look here. You can see as I scroll along the bottom there that I've got quite a bit of stuff open, and there's lots of bits and pieces doing stuff. So that's the reasoning behind our problem. So we'll just shut this down and we'll continue on. Now we'll have a look now at the stuff that we did with the monkey so that it actually gets destroyed at the time. Now these are in behaviours. We've done quite a bit of coding, so I don't think there's a lot of effect in being able to do it here. So the first one, the back and forth horizontally, I don't need. It was something I was playing with, so I'll get rid of that in just a moment. But the hit by fruit is something that we've got, and you can see there it's got a starting health value of 3. So we'll talk about how we handle that sort of stuff too. So this adds some customizability to the game. Okay, so we're going to edit the behaviour and have a look at some of the code. But that start health 3 there is something that we'll have a look at when we come in and look at the actual code about how we do it. It's called a variable, and variables are quite powerful in programming. So let's have a look at some code and how it actually works. The 3 shots will kill the monkey. Okay, we'll click here and we'll open up the code. Okay, so we've got a few things here. We've got a few events, we've got a created, we've got an actor to a group, and we've got an updated. So there's a few things going on. Here are the attributes that are attached. So we've got an actor, we've got a health points. Both of these are hidden, but the starting health isn't. And that's how we display that option to change it at the start. So when we have the starting health not hidden, that means we put it there. Now if we want to have a look at the variables itself, we'll click on Start Health. You can see there's its name and a little bit of a description for it. If we scroll down a little bit further, we'll see that we put the default value at 3, but that default value can be changed because it's not a hidden variable. So when you come to the behavior, it disappears. Now these other two, the health points starts at 0, and the actor can't be modified because we selected a particular actor. So we'll come in here and we'll have a look. Okay, so we're having a look now currently at when self, being the line, hits an actor of fruit. But when we're creating, we set the health points to this starting health. Okay, so our health points start at 0, but start health is the variable. So we can select here the variable attribute start health and apply it to the health points section, which means we could set it so it had, a 10 starting health, so it needed to be shot 10 times if that's the case. But this is when we create it, and it happens for every monkey. Every monkey has their own separate health points section. We have in here when the monkey hits an actor of fruit type. Okay, so this is an event of this type when it collides with an actor of type. Okay, so that's how you would actually create this block. What we do is we decrement health points by 1. So when it starts with 3, if it gets shot, it goes to 2. Then we apply a make negative effect. So when we test the game, we'll show that the monkey provides feedback that it's been hit, because as I shoot it, it flashes. That white flash is turning negative. Essentially, it makes it the negative of its colours. Okay, so we'll click back and have a look. But because of that, we have this block here. So after 0.1 seconds, we get rid of that effect because it stays with it. So if I get rid of this block, you will actually see that the monkeys in the game will remain the negative effect. So we have to keep that block there. So we'll show you this. We'll take the code out. Click on it, show the game. I'll shoot a monkey and you will see said monkey will stay in his negative format, which is not what we want. Okay, so we'll put that back, and that after 0.1 seconds we remove all effects from self. Okay, so the flow block where you have the seconds is under flow in time, and the removal effects there under game effects, so you can go in and grab those. Now the last section of this is when we're updating, because all this does is removes the health points one at a time. It doesn't do any of the killing, so we need to be able to get rid of the monkey, and that's what happens here in the updated. So when updating, okay, which is just a basic event when updating, okay, always if health points become 0, kill the self, and then we'll play the sound. Now there's no sound selected, so I'm going to choose a sound and we'll use the stomp. But once we do this, it should play the sound. So let's go test the game. Have a bit of a play and shoot. And hang on, there's no sound going. So I'm going to have to probably have a little bit of a trial of this. I'll go have a look at our sounds. When you've got a problem with your code, start with the basics. We'll go and play the stomp sound just to make sure that there is a sound there. Yep, we got a sound, good. Okay, when you pause it and click it again, it won't work, but if we'd hit stop and played it again, it would. So come by, yeah, we're playing stomp. So what we'll do is we'll test the game again and just see if playing with the sound has fixed it. Okay, we come back in, a little bit of debugging, and voila, we got sound. So all good. Happy as Larry. Okay, and we're making the effects, etc., and we're getting rid of it. So it's all good. We'll shut that down. And there you have it. In essence, that's the point that I wanted us to get to at this point. Now, we will do another one shortly, which will cover placing in a winning event. So you can say, you've killed all the monkeys, well done, you've won the game. But keep working on your coding. Really, it's a matter of thinking about what you require to happen on stream, maybe even making yourself a few notes. I intend to go through quite a few of the Stencyl material, but quite honestly, I just want to say thank you for watching, thank you for the comments. I do try to help where I can. And until the next tutorial, I hope you enjoy your Stencyl games, and thank you very much for watching my videos.